Coming up on Digging into the Future.
So, first and foremost, integrity. You want honest people around you. You want people that have the intellectual horsepower to understand what it is you're doing and to hopefully help you anticipate where the business is going.
Today we've got the honor of Bill Stein, an old friend, but also a great philosopher, but also, I would say, leader in terms of understanding the trends of the future, in terms of where technology is going, a longstanding member of the Silicon Valley elite leaders, and a gentleman who's really been also very open and helpful for many of us up-and-coming CEOs and learning about where the world's going, and a great partner for many of us. So I'm really honored today to have Bill Stein with us. And your view is it as you think about becoming a CEO, and is the CFO route the best way to go, or what's your thoughts?
Look, I think there are a number of different paths. I was a lawyer before I became a CFO. And I think certainly in the real estate world, it's useful to have both a legal background and a finance background, because the business tends to be both legally intensive and financially intensive. You need to know the numbers. You need to know the terms and the documents. I think in the data center world, I think a sales background makes a lot of sense too. So I think that there are any number of paths to the top, but I think it's certainly very helpful to have a background in finance, because at the end of the day, your goal is to return and earn a reasonable return on invested capital, given the risks that are taken. And if you lose sight of that, you're not going to be in business for very long.
You've had a good run, and it's I'm sure will continue for the future. One thing that's interesting also is you've surrounded yourself with a pretty good board. When you look for board members, obviously Silicon Valley's a great, I guess, place to find folks. But what do you look for when you're trying to surround yourself with board members? In a business like yours, where you've got to be dynamic and change at times, or not, depending on how you're looking at the model.
So, first and foremost, integrity. You want honest people around you. You want people that have the intellectual horsepower to understand what it is you're doing and to hopefully help you anticipate where the business is going. You'd like people that have been there before. So I would say sound business judgment. They've seen situations before and can relate what you're going through to what they've been through in the past, either as executives or board members. Being a board member is different than being a CEO. Because you're part of a collective, so it's a different decision-making process, and I think sometimes that's an adjustment. So I would say important skills there are tact, diplomacy, and strong interpersonal skills. I think it's important to have basic financial literacy, and that's why we frequently start new directors out on the audit committee, so they can get to know the numbers, how our business works in that regard. I think relevant subject matter expertise is useful, although at the same time, having people that are deep in other but adjacent spaces can be helpful too, as long as it's not too adjacent, too far away. And I think it's also important that a director understand the line of demarcation between management and the board.
Yeah. No, I guess probably managing that transition is a challenge, right? It's sort of, because as you grow, becoming much more institutional, right? I think is what you sort of have to do, I guess.
It requires diplomacy on both sides of the table.
So, yes, that's a good answer.
The other
good
thing
answer.
That's interesting, Bill, is as the CEO, you're also a member of the board.
Yep.
So you're both a member of management and a member of the board. So you wear both hats.
Yeah. No, and it's obviously if you get to the the chairman role, you can have three roles, right? In some ways, right? You're a board member and chairman. All right, let's just talk real quick about COVID. So you've managed to survive the COVID. Have you? How have you found life for the last 12 months? Obviously, it's been different, but how do you run DRT in sort of this COVID environment?
Well, I mean, look, I think we've got a great team here, and that's been really helpful. So, I have a head of operations who spent a good bit of his early career in the Marines. Yeah, he's got a background in intelligence, well, but he's served in military theaters on the ground. So he's seen his fair share of crises, and he was very helpful in helping us navigate this. As was our head of HR. So we were very quick to really shut down our facilities, not the data centers, but our offices. We implemented the appropriate safeguards for people who were coming into this place. We had, as any large company we had a lot of events scheduled, sales recognition events, offsites, and all that sort of thing. And we canceled all that and went virtual. So it was really moving on. And then we moved the data center tours, the sales engagements, if you will, to virtual. So we developed virtual tours for customers so that they could see the space and without being there in person. So I think our team did a really good job of transitioning, and hopefully all of that or most of that is behind us now.
Now, do you think you're going to keep a lot of these habits going forward? Are you going to have face-to-face staff meetings, or are you going to continue to pull them all in on Zoom? Or I mean, how do you think, when you can sort of fly around the world again, and will you, or will you try and do more virtual going forward?
Look, I think that there are some meetings that you can do virtually for sure that before we did in person, and I'll be a big fan of those because it saves time and money. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot to be said for meeting in person. This last week, we had a hybrid board meeting in Austin, Texas. So we had a number of executives show up in person, and a number of directors, and others stayed home and participated virtually. And I'll tell you, it was really good for morale for, I think, both the directors that attended and the members of management. I'm really glad we did it. And I know they were too, the people that attended in person. So, and once travel opens up, I need to get on a plane and get out to Europe, because we did a major merger in March of 2020, and I've been out to see the team over there. We have 1,000 employees in Europe that haven't seen much of the team in the U.S. yet. So we need to get over there as soon as the borders open up.
So you think that we've got a good run coming in the digital space, right? Is that what's your view for the next 2 to 3 years? Should we look forward to this expansion continuing, or what's your thoughts?
But I think the great thing about our business is it seems to be relatively immune to the economic cycle because of the secular demand drivers. Now, that's not to say if there isn't economic growth, our company won't benefit, because it will. Clearly, if the enterprises have more money to spend, they're going to spend it to some extent to upgrade their IT and to continue their digital transformation. But even if they're in a bad way, and they're trying to conserve resources, one of the obvious ways to do that is to substitute capital for labor. So invest more in your processes and systems, and make yourself more efficient, and outsource, frankly. And the cloud is just in some ways it's another way to outsource your IT.
Yep. No, it definitely that's another growth plank. I think we can all look forward to, hopefully, because I think people have just been doing triage, and now they're going back to sort of real planning again, which is good. I think for all of us.
I agree.
All right. Well, this is Bill Stein. Thank you very much, Bill, for spending some time with us on digging into the future here with the PTC. Thanks again, Bill, for coming to us from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having me, and great to see you again. Take care. Stay well.
You too. You too. Take care, Bill.